How's it going, people? This is PlayStation 9, and today I'm going to be showing you my PlayStation game collection. This is PlayStation 1, so to speak, and in this collection it's going to be split into three parts. Second part is going to consist of greatest hits reprints, and the last part is going to consist of discs without cases. With that being said, let's jump right into it. The first game I'm going to be showing you is the only game I have in a cardboard box copy, and that is Twisted Metal from 1995. Here you get a good view of Sweet Tooth. I played this a while back, and it's really good for the most part. Here on the back you get screenshots of 4 other PlayStation titles. Never played most of the Twisted Metal games, to be honest. But I might check them out some other time whenever I stumble upon either one of them. Next one I'm going to be showing you is what I got recently in the mail, and that is the 1996 first-person shooter from Insomniac Games called Disruptor. This is the first game Insomniac developed under their 4-game deal with Universal Studios, the last 3 being the Spyro trilogy. And those were before they worked on other projects like the Ratchet and Clank series, the Resistance trilogy, and most recently, Spider-Man for the PS4. Never really played this game, but from what I saw on YouTube, it might be a decent shooter. Next one I got here is from Zia, is a 1999 platformer that I grew up when my brother and I first had a PlayStation, and that is Ape Escape. And it is one of the earliest titles to be compatible with the DualShock controller. And as you can see, the case is broken, but I could still clamp it on. Here on the back of the manual, you get an advertisement for a strategy guide. Here's what the disc looks like, and the inside. Really happy to own this in my collection. The only other Ape Escape games I own are Ape Escape 3 and the PSP remake, that being Ape Escape on the Loose. And it's not available in the PlayStation Store, but you could find Ape Escape on the Loose. But you know what? I decided why not get this to compare both of them. Alright, next up I got here is yet another classic platformer that I grew up with, and that is Gex. This is a 1995 platformer from Crystal Dynamics. This was before they went on to go work on the later Tomb Raider games, and most recently the new Avengers game that is coming out next year. Here you get an advertisement for Gex Enter the Gecko. Sorry, just had to clear my throat. Next up is a 1996 pinball game from Interplay called Pro Pinball. It is developed by Empire Interactive. Here's what the inside looks like with the disc. And here's what it looks like without the disc. And there's no cover art inside. But here on the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for two other Interplay titles. First one being Descent, and the other being VR Soccer 96. And I feel like I'm interested in getting Descent for the collection. I do like me some shooter games, whether they're whether they're being first person, third person, or airplane type shooters like Ace Combat or Top Gun. But next up are two retro game compilations from Activision. First one I'm going to show you is the Intellivision collection. A collection of classic games from Intellivision. It consists of 30 Intellivision titles. And it's actually from 1999. Here's what the inside looks like. On the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for Activision Classics collection for the Atari 2600, which I'm going to show you next. The booklet just came off. Man, that's pretty irritating. I really gotta keep clearing my throat. Don't worry, I'm not sick. Next one, which like I said, I will show you, and that is the Activision Classic Games collection for the Atari 2600. And this also consists of 30 titles, but from Activision. And it's from 1998. Here's what the inside looks like, including the disc. And there's no cover art in the inside, but on the back of the booklet is an advertisement for the Asteroids remake. Next up is also from Activision, but it's actually a survival horror game from Callisto Technologies, and that is Nightmare Creatures. I played a little bit of it along with my brother in our both first and second live stream back on Twitch. And they're on my YouTube channel, just so you know. If you're curious to see. Analog joystick compatible. And the case is broken. But here's what the disc looks like. And here's what the inside looks like, and the back of the booklet. And you get an advertisement for Pitfall 3D and Apocalypse with Bruce Willis. No, Bruce Willis doesn't star in Pitfall 3D. But I believe Bruce Campbell stars in it, if I remember correctly. I think so. Trying to fix the booklet. I don't have Pitfall 3D, but I do have Apocalypse. And this is what I'm going to show you. And it is DualShock controller compatible. Here's what the inside looks like. On the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for Taifu, Wrath of the Tiger from DreamWorks Interactive. And in the inside, you get an advertisement to call Activision for hints and tips, whether you live in the US or Canada. Next one I'm going to show you. Wait a second. Apocalypse is from 1998, just to clarify. And Nightmare Creatures is from 1997. Next up is a classic survival horror shooter that my brother and I grew up with. And it is third-person shooter. And it's a 1999 Capcom game called Dino Crisis. It includes a demo disc for Resident Evil 3, also from 1999. And it's directed by Shinji Mikami, who directed Resident Evil 1 and 4 and produced Resident Evil 2, 3, and I believe it was 5. He produced most of the Resident Evil games, not all of them to be exact. In case I forget, here's what the disc looks like. And here's what the demo disc looks like for Resident Evil 3. I don't know why it came off, but it just did. But here's what the inside looks like when you open it up. Man, it gets me every time. Come on. And stay back on. Classic. Honestly, if I had to choose between Resident Evil 2 and Dino Crisis, I think Dino Crisis 2 is a better survival horror game. For instance, I don't know about you, but that's just me. But next up is from 2000 is a Marvel game developed by Neversoft Interactive. In case I forgot, Apocalypse is developed by Neversoft and is also from Activision, and that is Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Neversoft only developed 2 of these games before they were lended to both Treyarch and Vicarious Visions, who went on to develop the Spider-Man movie trilogy from Sam Raimi and Ultimate Spider-Man. Just double checking. And I also have all three Spider-Man games for either GameCube, PS2, or Xbox 360. I also own the PSP version developed by Vicarious Visions, that being Spider-Man 2, just to clarify. And alright, so next up, Treyarch also developed Ultimate Spider-Man. Alright, let me cut the chase. Next up is a 1998 survival horror game from Asylum Studios and Eidos Interactive, and that is Death Trap Dungeon. Here's what the disc looks like, and on the back of the booklet you get an advertisement for both Ninja and Tomb Raider 2. I never realized you could call game publishers or developers for hints and tips back in the day. But next up is a third-person shooter from Konami, and that is from 1996, and it's called Project Overkill. I've only played a little of this game. Next up is a 1997 Midway fighter game called Mortal Kombat 4. I also have the original trilogy for PS1, but I'll save that for later. Because that game doesn't have a disc. Not disc. Case. Here's what the inside looks like, including the disc and the back of the booklet. And you get a letter to send to Midway for an official soundtrack for either Mortal Kombat 3 or Mortal Kombat 4. Never really played this, nor have I played the first one, but I have played the second and third. Next up is a on-rail shooter developed by Atari Games and is also from Midway, and that is the console port of Area 51. Almost put it on the stack. Here's what the inside looks like. Only played a little of this one, just a few minutes of it, and that's it. I was just testing some games to make sure if they're either good or not. Next up is from 2001 and is developed by Warner Brothers, and it is from Electronic Arts, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I played this a few years ago, and it was okay. I grew up with the Harry Potter movies, but I've never read the books. To be honest, I know, what was I thinking? Watching the movies and not reading the books. But that's just me. I'll eventually read the books whenever I get a chance. But next one here is a 1999 Hyperbowl Studios game from Fox Interactive, and that is the X-Files game. This is a 4-disc set. I only played a little of this one. And that's just it. It is a point and click game. Here's what the first and second disc would look like. Here's what the third and fourth would look like. I wish I can whistle, but I just can't. I literally don't know how to whistle properly. Here on the back you get an advertisement for X-Files, Fight the Future on DVD. I do like me some X-Files. I've only seen bits and pieces of it back when I was a kid, and only seen a few full episodes of it. So yeah, definitely glad to have this in my collection. Next one is a survival horror third-person shooter developed by Heavy Iron Studios and is from THQ, and that is is from 2000, and it's Evil Dead: Hail to the King. I love all three of these movies, including Army of Darkness. The remake is okay, but I've never seen the TV show, that being Ash vs. Evil Dead. Here's what the inside would look like, including the first disc and the second one. And on the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for a Danger Girl. Collector's item. Only played a little of this one. Again, I do like me some Evil Dead. Next up is a 1996 helicopter shooter game from Electronic Arts, and that is Soviet Strike. There's also a sequel of it called Nuclear Strike. And which I don't have, but willing to check it out when I get the chance to. I got this from Fallout Games, and the disc clamp is broken. No cover art to the inside, but here on the back of the booklet you get an advertisement for the Need for Speed 2. I only played a little of it. I've only played the first mission of it. And I gotta be honest with you, I just wasn't really good at it. But I'm willing to revisit that just to see how well I do at it. Next up is a Rebellion game from both Universal Studios and Konami, and that is The Mummy from 2000. This is an adaptation of the movie with Brendan Fraser. I do love me the first movie, in case I forget. The second one, I really don't know about you. I feel alone on this one, but I still enjoy it. But the third one, I just don't care for. Here on the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for the Grinch game. In case you ask me if I'm getting it, yeah, I'm fine. Next one is also from Electronic Arts, and it is a 1998 DreamWorks Interactive game called Small Soldiers. I only played a few missions of it. And it is pretty good for the most part. I mean, I think the game is good. Here in the inside, you get an advertisement for Future Cop LAPD. In which, from what I saw on YouTube, that game looked pretty good. So I might check it out whenever I get a chance to check it out in the PlayStation Store. And yes, Future Cop LAPD is available in the PlayStation Store. Alright, next one up is a 1998 MGM Interactive game called War Games DEF CON 1. I do love the original movie with Matthew Broderick. It's a classic thriller. I've only played a few missions of it, and it's pretty good. Here in the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for Tiny Tank, which I played a long time ago when my brother and I were little. Next up is a kids racing game from TDK, and it's from 2001, called The Land Before Time: Great Valley Racing Adventure. I played through most of it, and to best summarize it, it's an okay racing game. Nothing special about it. It's just okay. I grew up with all Land Before Time movies. And to be honest, the direct-to-video sequels are not as good as the original, and they just don't capture much of the spirit of the original. I mean, I don't look at them as if they are faithful sequels to the original. I just grew up with them, and I thought they were really fun family movies. And here in the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for The Land Before Time: Return to the Great Valley, in which I also have in my collection. Next up is a Sandbox Studios game from both Disney Interactive and Ubisoft, and it is Disney's Dinosaur. And it's not telling me what year is it. I think it's from 2000. Yeah, it is 2000. I do love the movie, including this game. And the case is also broken. Here's what both the disc and booklet would look like. And here's what the inside without the disc would look like. Here you get an advertisement for the Jungle Book game, Rhythm and Groove. And on the back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for... Man, it's not telling me what the whole title is, but it's called Donald Duck. Again, I do like this game. I played it through a long time ago, and again, it's pretty good. And I'm gonna have to put them down. Next up is a 2000 Hasbro game, and it's developed by Blitz, called Frogger 2: Swampy's Revenge. It's been a long time since I played this. Whenever I get a chance at revisiting it, I might let you know what I think of it. I could do a Let's Play series or live streams of it when I feel like it. I sometimes prefer to double check. I also have the first one on PS1, just to clarify. Alright, next up is a 1999 3DO third-person shooter called Army Men 3D. Played this a long time ago when I was at my uncle's house as a kid, and from what I remember, I just wasn't really good at it. Mainly I was playing single player. But I'm really happy to add this to my collection, and I'm willing to revisit it some other time. Get an advertisement for X Uprising. Only have 4 more titles to show you before I close this video. Next up in this stack is a 1999 Atari game from Hasbro, and that is a remake of Centipede. Played this a long time ago, and I honestly cannot remember what I think of it. But I'm definitely happy to add this to my collection and willing to revisit. Here in the booklet, back of the booklet, you get an advertisement for the remake of Frogger, in which again I also have in my collection. Here's what the inside looked like. Next up is a 1998 behavior game, and that is a Sony platformer called Jersey Devil. I played the demo of it long time ago, and upon playing the game itself a while back, I only played the first chapter of it. Well, 2 chapters of it, and only fought 1 boss. Here's what the inside would look like, including the disc. and you get a letter for PlayStation Underground. Here's what the back of the booklet looks like. Okay, an advertisement for a PlayStation Underground CD mag. Here's the inside without the disc. Next up is a on-rails shooter from Konami, and that is a 1997 double pack of the Lethal Enforcers games. I only played a little bit, just so you know. Here's what the inside, including the disc and the back of the booklet, would look like. And you get an advertisement for Crypt Killer, also an on-rails shooter. Alright, the last game I'm going to show you before I close this video off is a 2001 Fox Interactive game from Activision, and is developed by Big Ape, called The Simpsons Wrestling. Here's what the inside looks like, with and without the disc. I played this a long time ago when my brother and I rented it from Blockbuster Video, and upon revisiting it, now that I have it in my collection, it's a really fun fighting game for the most part. Alright, that's all I got to show you in this collection. Tune in, as I'm going to be showing you my greatest hits reprint titles. So thanks for watching. Hope you all have yourself a nice day. Take care, and I'll catch you later.